The 6 miles of this royal ride take about 3 hours on foot or about 1.5 on a bike. It is London's most scenic and most historic greenway. Between Kensington Palace and Tower Bridge you can see 4 royal parks, 7 royal palaces, 1 Big Ben, 3 cathedrals, the Tate Modern, Shakespeare's Theatre, and, of course, the finest section of the River Thames in London. There are a few roads you have to cross, but the only road you have to walk along is Horse Guards Avenue, and it could easily become part of the Greenway. This video will take you at various speeds from Kensington to the Tower of London. The round pond in Kensington Gardens was the centrepiece of a Baroque layout. There was, and is, a garden near the house, but most of the area now open to the public was always more a park than a garden. The statue is a reminder that Queen Victoria was born and raised in Kensington Palace, but it was the death of Princess Diana which made it famous, and led to a landscape design for reconnecting the palace with the park. Mount Walk, the shared pedestrian cycle path, is one of the park's historic avenues, but it lacks the formality an avenue should have. Engineers installed rubble strips in 2016 to slow up cyclists and rattle their teeth, so most cyclists swing onto the grass, as you can see me doing. It's time for a redesign. The West Carriage Drive separates Kensington Gardens from Hyde Park and is also part of CS3, London's east-west cycle superhighway. In Hyde Park, the cycle route is beside Rotton Row, which is a horse track made by William III in the 17th century, so that he could travel in safety between Kensington Palace and St James's Palace. It was the first road in Britain to have artificial lighting, probably using whale oil. Rotton Row is a witty anglicisation of Route du Roi, which means King's Road in the language his mum preferred, French. The Serpentine, on the other side of the cycle track, was one of the first examples of a man-made serpentine line in a landscape park, hence the name. The neoclassical monuments at Hyde Park Corner were built as a memorial to the Duke of Wellington, whose house is still here, and as a ceremonial entrance to London. Traffic engineers then moved the arch and made the place a hell for pedestrians, cyclists, and motor vehicles. Constitution Hill takes its name from Charles II's practice of walking here to improve his constitution in the 1660s. The old lane had also been used by Henry VIII when, in the 1530s, he acquired Hyde Park and St James's Park as a hunting estate. Henry should be remembered more for his open space planning than his wives, though he did establish the park system for his own use. Constitution Hill was widened in the 1820s and became the scene for 3 attempts to kill Queen Victoria. It's closed to motor traffic on Sundays, as much more of central London should be. Buckingham Palace only became London's premier royal palace after the accession of Queen Victoria in 1837. The Mall only became a ceremonial avenue in the 20th century. It was laid out in the 17th century for playing a type of croquet known as Pall Mall. St James's Palace, beside the Mall, was built by Henry VIII on the site of a leper hospital. He liked to build a new palace when he took a new wife. This one was for Anne Boleyn. St James's Park was given a Baroque layout in the 17th century. Then, in the 19th century, it was modernised to the landscape style, and then planted in the Gardenesque style. Landscape and architecture are very well integrated, and the result, in my view, is one of the best urban parks in the world. The Horse Guards building stands on the former jousting yard, the tilt yard, of Whitehall Palace. It was the headquarters of the British Army until 1904, with the open space used for military parades. The civil service then took it over as a staff car park. It was known as the Great Park. Then, in 1997, a firm of landscape architects gave the space its present dignified character. It's still used for parades, like the trooping of the car. Whitehall was always the main road from the city to Westminster. The name comes from England's greatest royal palace. Henry VIII had a gatehouse built to link the palace to his park. In 1691, Whitehall Palace was destroyed by fire. Only the Banqueting House and the river steps survive. Most of the site's now occupied by the Ministry of Defence. Horse Guards Avenue runs through the site of Whitehall Palace, and, as suggested in another video, should become a green street and part of the Greenway. The name Whitehall Garden is now used for a public garden designed in 1875 by George Vulliamy. It was part of Bazalgette's embankment of the River Thames, which included a trunk sewer, an underground railway, and a new road. You're scarcely aware of this in the garden, which retains its pleasant Victorian character. The two Golden Jubilee footbridges opened in 2002. At 8.5 million, their annual footfall is about the same as London's population. You can push your bike across, or, if you've hired a city bike, you can dock it on the north side of the river and pick up another one on the south side. There are great views from the bridge, and it's a pity the designers didn't include viewing places and planting places in the design. pedestrian walk on the south bank, now known as the Queen's Walk, was part of Sir Patrick Abercrombie's great 1943 landscape plan for London. Until then, the riverbank from here to Tower Bridge had been used for warehouses, with no public access. Abercrombie proposed what we now call a greenway, and it's been a great success. A bike can be ridden here at quiet times, but at busy times you can hardly find space to walk.
Sink in the river, the lands that I love. Take that money, watch it burn. Sink in the river, the lands that I love. Cause everything that kills me makes me feel alive. Up in.
This is the River Thames, Robert.
Coin Street has one of London's best beaches, which isn't saying much. The city needs an imaginative plan for reclaiming its other beaches. The river was used for bathing until 1815. It was then banned because men bathed without wearing their clothes. Ooh! The Thames beaches are now managed by the Port of London Authority. They discourage recreational use of the water, ostensibly for health reasons, but possibly because making the beaches safe would cost money without generating any income for the authority. The Port Authority should be changed into a multi-objective River Landscape Authority.
And strategic.
Yeah, so when, yeah, okay, so we've got feature cannon. Yeah.
The old Blackfriars rail bridge has some spare columns, which, if the current project doesn't go ahead, could be used to support a garden bridge. The bankside section of the Thames Greenway was little used when it was built, but has been very busy since the Tate Modern and the Millennium Bridge were opened in the year 2000. The reconstructed Shakespeare Globe Theatre opened in 1997 after a long campaign by Southwark Council to use the site for social housing instead. It cost them millions in compensation. The theatre contributes a lot to the visitor numbers on this stretch of the Greenway. They could have made its surroundings more Tudor. Some pigs, chickens and mud would be welcome.
Carino.
Where's he gone?
Clink Street retains something of the warehouse character this section of the Thames had in the 19th century. It also has a garden on the site of the Bishop of Winchester's 12th century palace. This full-size replica of Sir Francis Drake's Golden Hind has, like its 16th century predecessor, sailed from London across the Atlantic to the Pacific. It has crossed 140,000 miles of ocean. The present Southwark Cathedral dates from the 13th century and is well worth a visit. The choir sing on most days. The churchyard has an inaccurate but pleasant evocation of a medieval garden. Hayes Galleria is a roofed outdoor space made in the 1980s by filling in the old dock basin and converting the warehouses to shops, offices and restaurants.
I think.
HMS Belfast is a light cruiser. She was launched in 1938 and remained in service until 1971. It's pretty grim inside, but a dramatic sight from the shore. The More London district, master planned by Foster and Partners, was shortlisted for the Carbuncle Cup in 2007. This is an award for bad architecture, but the landscape design by Townsend Landscape Architects has made it an attractive place to visit, with a performance area, good planting and several water features.
Where did you walk from this side? It's lovely. Oh, look at that little one. Did you walk through from this side? We've got
Potter's Fields, designed by Gross Max Landscape Architects, is an attractive green space with great views of London's oldest surviving royal palace. The Tower of London was built by William the Conqueror after 1066 to subjugate the local population. Subsequent invasions have all failed, though a great many immigrants have been welcomed to the city.
Together.
Now for some practicalities. Between Kensington and Tower Bridge, the Greenway goes near 6 tube stations, so it's easy to do the 6-mile walk in shorter sections. If you want to do it on your own bike, the return journey can be done on the east-west cycle superhighway. It's a treat. Or you can take your bike on a train. See the TfL website for details. Or Santander bikes can be hired and left at many points along the route. Walkers can do an inner London loop by crossing Tower Bridge and then returning via the north bank of the Thames, Parliament Square, the south of St James's Park, and the northern route through Hyde Park and Kensington Gardens. And the really good news is that the route passes a great many cafes and public toilets. I hope you enjoy the trip.